What's up, everyone? Thralls of Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm the Tommie.
Aggressively the Tommie today. And we got an album review for you. Another one of the more anticipated releases coming out this year was As I Lay Dying's new album, Shaped by Fire. This came out on Nuclear Blast. It'll be out this Friday, September 20th. Well, I mean, these guys have been around since 2000 from San Diego. They were one of the biggest metalcore acts of the early to mid 2000s. Then Tim Limbasis tried to pay someone to murder his wife, and, well, the band kind of ended after that.
Yeah, you know, shit happens.
Shit did happen.
Shit.
And it's going to be hard not to touch on that subject, because that was all over the fucking headlines across metal media and actual media. Like, you know, beyond just the scope of metal. But this is their
pretty crazy
first album in 7 years, and inking a new deal with Nuclear Blast rather than Metal Blade. And even got their old buddy Adam D to do the production on it.
Yeah, Adam D's a badass. He's a production monster.
Yes. So, well, what'd you think right away?
Right away, you know, a lot of the songs, they start out blazing. A lot of the songs just come out swinging. The production, again, absolutely incredible. Adam D does a phenomenal job. And
Guitars, drums,
bass sounded incredible. All the instruments sounded absolutely incredible.
And it pretty much has all the hallmarks of what you would come to expect from a band like As I Lay Dying.
Yes.
The breakdowns, the melodic death metal at the gates, in flames, just kind of riffs.
I really found myself just nodding to those fucking grooves a lot. Like, they were pretty on point.
I was surprised. It was pretty much, you know, return to form for the most part. Yeah. Now, my first issue came kind of right away. The fact that the vocals are tremendously overproduced. And that it goes for both the bassist who does all the clean vocals and Tim. His vocals don't sound as strong. Like, they have moments where they sound strong, and then he goes in this almost spoken word thing, and he seems like he comes back on that a lot. And for me, that kind of just let me know that maybe he's lost a little bit. Like, some of the growls don't have the same punch as they used to.
Sure.
And then the clean vocals are very processed, very layered, almost sound maybe auto-tuned in some spots, and I can't get behind that.
Yeah, it was a little much, you know. It almost came across as emo to me a little bit, and it happens a lot.
A lot of these choruses were tailor-made for Warped Tour 2007. Yes. I would say 2007. I think that's a pretty good year for Warped Tour.
And when I say a lot, I mean every track except one.
Yep.
Like, every track except one, legit.
Gatekeeper is the lone track without any clean vocals, and I'd say it rocks the hardest.
Killer track. That was my favorite track on the entire album.
And it was just because of the vocals that I think that one really stood out. Like, there's still some catchy melodies in that one, but that one sticks for a more raw, straight up, like, very old As I Lay Dying sound. Like, something off of, like, Frail Words Collapse, or even Shadows Are Security, where occasionally there were clean choruses, but they weren't on every track. And this one, every track except for one has a very big,
and you could feel it coming every single time.
Like,
I even lost money on it.
It's just $1, you're fine. But unfortunately, like, it became sort of predictable in the nature, like, almost every song on here has the same sort of dynamic. Like, you can sense the chorus coming because the build-up's the same. The riffs, while they are really good and really punchy, they're very similar from song to song, and it's really hard to find standout moments in here. Like, Blinded was one of the opening tracks, and I really liked that one.
Yeah, me too.
But then came in the chorus, and honestly, almost every track after that one sounded very, very similar.
Very similar.
The title track, even more so. I think that one really labored the very powerful chorus.
That song almost felt like it was written to be a single.
Yes.
Like, it felt like that's what they were really going for with that song. Which, again, not a horrible song by any means, but, again, it's just, I don't know if cookie cutter is the right word, or just following the same formula.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what it felt like.
Formulaic. And,
yes.
I mean, all right, first album in 7 years. You want to come out of the gate swinging. You want to appease your fan base that you already have.
Totally.
But at the same time, that might keep you from taking any chances, and they stuck to a very rigid formula on this one. And unfortunately, that made the album kind of dull to me, because the more I listened to it, the more I felt that I'd heard these songs before previously.
I agree completely.
The song structures were very, very similar from song to song. Like, there are very few moments I could tell between a song like Torn Between or even The Wreckage. I mean, that one had a little bit of a clean intro to it, but then it kind of turned into the same song again. Like, nostalgia just wasn't enough on this one either. I used to be a pretty big fan of As I Lay Dying. I've seen them multiple times, and it was hard to escape them in those early to mid 2000s. Like, they became like pretty much the face of metalcore, along with like Kill Switch Engage.
Oh yeah.
And Unearth.
All That Remains.
All That Remains, definitely. But that wasn't enough to save them here. And there were moments I thought were really cool, like the lead work when it showed up.
I was just going to say, we definitely have to bring up the leads and the solos.
Now, leads, in terms of adding to melodies, they did a pretty decent job on that. They definitely had some parts that would stick out more, but mostly they stick it with that syncopated chug, moving into kind of that thrashy...
Which they do really well. Yeah, and it sounds awesome.
But when a solo came up...
Yeah, it was very let down, because it felt like a great start to a solo, It felt like it was going to be building up into some killer shred, some hits, if you will. It's just like they build it up for 2 measures and then just drop it off and then go into the emo style vocals,
or into a breakdown,
a breakdown, which I love a good breakdown. Yeah. But I don't love a emo chorus. That's me personally,
Yeah, same here.
Everybody likes different stuff. It's just not for me,
Yeah, and like the fact that like these solos sounded good. They still started off really good, and you expected it to kind of go on, and like a solo was supposed to own that moment. And these only kind of just show up in the moment, kind of say hi the rest of the song. Like, all right, I got a dip, I got someone in the car, and they leave.
I write notes for every single song. Specifically, this is what I wrote for one. For Only After We've Fallen. They keep cock blocking on their solos. They build it up. It feels like it's going to come, and then it just stops. And I'm like, it just leaves me wanting more. And like, there's never a point that they actually bring more in. And take away my blue balls. Yeah. They give me blue balls
metal
over
blue balls.
And metal blue balls.
It's a real condition.
All chorus and no solos makes me a doll boy.
And the choruses, or I get like people like big, powerful choruses and whatnot.
I do too. And I like them.
I might not be a fan of the more emo, Warped Tour, vocals like that. But I get why they need it. But these seem more labored. Like, if you went back and listened to a lot of earlier As I Lay Dying, choruses were there, but they were a little bit more sporadic. You would have songs that were completely dominated by Tim's growls. And this album, all but one song is pretty much dominated by these giant choruses, which have a very similar feel from song to song. Like, it seems like they just kind of just threw these in there. It's like, all right, we need this big feely moment. What do you have left in the tank?
That's exactly what made me bring up the term cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Just in that it felt the same, stamped in there, exactly. Like, I like a big, strong, epic chorus. Like,
oh, yeah.
I'm not saying I don't like that, but when it's every song and that's at the same point, almost sounding the same as the previous song, like, that's an issue to me.
Yeah, I know. It kind of makes the album kind of go stagnant.
Right.
And that was kind of my feeling on this. Like, there were, moments in songs that I thought were bright. Like, My Own Grave, that was the lead-off single. Opened up fucking gangbusters. What a lot of the other songs did, too. And then it pretty much just turned into the standard formula for an As I Lay Dying song.
Yes.
And I kind of wanted to see them break out a little bit. Like, 7 Years Gone, I just wanted to see if they had anything else besides what they've already done.
Right. Anything new to bring to the table.
There really wasn't much, to be honest.
Yeah, so I gave this album a 2.5. I was going to only give it a 2, but I went up that half a rank because truly the production on the instruments was absolutely incredible. The drums sounded phenomenal. The guitar, I really like the guitar work on this album.
Yeah.
It was done very well. It was the quote-unquote cookie cutter choruses that brought it down for me.
I also gave it a 2.5. Again, musically, I've really never had much of an issue with them. It's generally I have a preference when it comes down to clean vocals, and these are not there. And honestly, the vocals sounded really overprocessed. There were too many layers on it. It didn't sound very natural. And one of the things I grade on is, how is this going to sound live? Is it going to sound even similar to this? And I think vocally, it wouldn't.
It would take a lot of processors in order to get it sounding like that.
But all in all, like the song structure, I just couldn't help get over. It was very samey from song to song, and it wasn't as though, like, Slayer songs sound very similar, but there's little nuances here and there. There's not many nuances. It's a very stick to the formula, and it feels like an album where they just wanted to reestablish themselves without taking a lot of chances, just to see how much of their fan base is still there, which I imagine it still is.
Especially with our favorite, or at least my favorite song on the album being the one that sounds completely different than the other ones.
Yeah.
Just wanted more uniqueness.
So yeah, I think 2.5 is fair. I mean, I imagine people are going to disagree with this. I know this band still has a pretty hefty fan base, and, well, we might hear from them. But, I mean, it was also kind of hard for me to get away from the whole Tim Lambesis thing. I don't like the guy. I think what he did was really fucked up, and I think people might have been too quick to forgive him, but again, this is just my opinion. I also think if Woven War had taken off with all the other members of As I Lay Dying, this album might not have happened. I think this one was pretty much a chance for everyone else to actually get back in action, really, because their other projects weren't doing so well. Again, just an opinion. I might be wrong there, and who knows, Tim might be a really nice guy and completely reformed. I don't know. I'm kind of outside looking in.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a tough subject. It really is.
It's the elephant in the room. It was kind of unavoidable for us to do this review and not bring that up. It's pretty much in the back of everyone's minds.
Yeah. I mean, if I was to do something like that, I would expect to get called out on it every day of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
and if I didn't, something's wrong.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of amends he has to make, I suppose. And maybe he has to a certain number of fans. Maybe he hasn't. I don't know. It's supposedly not for me to judge, but I have to make some sort of judgment there because
I read up on the Wikipedia, on his Wikipedia a little bit, that, he approached the other members of the band and talked about it. They worked out their differences, which, good.
Yeah.
It's all about communication.
And I suppose about moving forward. So, that's pretty much our take on it. We couldn't avoid this subject. But anyway, if you like the review, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe, because we do shit like this all the time. More reviews coming for sure.
Thanks for watching.
Catch you guys later.